Failed former President Donald Trump gave a series of speeches in the important primary state of Iowa over the weekend, one in Cedar Rapids and one in, it's always dicey when I pronounce the names of towns in Iowa. I'm going to go with Ankeny, or is it Ankeny or I don't know. Okay. Let's start with Cedar Rapids, where I'm more comfortable with the pronunciation. The speech started off before Trump even goes out to talk to the crowd. It starts with a group of people praying over Trump. These are cultists. These are lunatics. It is a sad thing to see, but it is where we are today.
The gates of hell will not prevail against him. Lord, we speak this over him. Lord, I pray for protection over him. I pray for protection over his.
And if you're listening, there's like a pastor and a bunch of people holding their hands up to Trump like he's some kind of deity, and they're praying over him.
Family, Lord, all the weapons formed against him will not prosper.
Yes.
Lord, they will come to nothing, and the traps that are laid against him.
Yes.
Lord, the people that laid the traps, they will be caught in their own traps.
Yes.
So, Father, we thank you now, Lord, for great favor. And I pray, Lord, that we will get President trust in you. Yes. Not always understand, but acknowledge you in all his ways, Lord. I trust you.
All right, I think you understand what it looks and sounds like when a bunch of lunatics pray over Donald Trump. If anything, they should be performing an exorcism on Trump. That's also bonkers, but it would at least make sense based on what we've seen. So eventually Trump's actual speech starts, and Trump with a hilarious Freudian slip where he says he's been waging war on democracy. It's like, yeah, we know, dude.
But we've been waging an all-out war in American democracy. You look at what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's maybe the first time that he's just told the truth. He is waging an all-out war on American democracy. Trump then, with, again, the cognitive decline questions, Trump claims that Joe Biden received $5 billion. Isn't Biden worth like $10 million or something like that? He got $5 billion?
You see, they just found him $5 billion went to him. Remember during the debate, I said to Joe Biden, I said, how come the mayor of...
Yeah. $5 billion went to Joe Biden. He doesn't live like a guy who's got $5 billion, and that's because it's utterly delusional nonsense. Donald Trump then wildly claimed that even Trump's political opponents acknowledged that Trump's presidency was great, that it was one of the great presidencies. And I'm thinking to myself, which of Trump's opponents acknowledged that?
They haven't done that in a long time, but we did it for 4 years, and that's why we did so well. That's why it was one of the great presidencies, they say. Even the opponents sometimes say that he did very well. I have to say, take it back, they scream. His people say, take it back.
I have never heard any of Donald Trump's political opponents say that he had an absolutely fantastic presidential term. Trump then, I guess, religion on the mind after that group of cultists prayed over him. Trump says that if Jesus and God came down from heaven, I don't know if that's two different people or the same people. I guess it depends on your view. He says that if Jesus and God came down to count votes, Trump would be the real winner in New York. He would be the real winner in Illinois. He would be the real winner in California, which is really hard to imagine.
But I think if you had a real election and Jesus came down and God came down and said, I'm going to be the scorekeeper here, I think it would win there. I think it would win in Illinois, and I think it would win in New York, which is all places that, in theory.
Yeah. It is absolutely disgusting to invoke religion in this way, to say that the real winner, if God was counting ballots, would be me, even in states, including like California, where Trump and Republicans regularly lose by millions and millions of votes. Trump having a sort of free pony moment where he says he won't rest until everyone can have a beautiful house and a new car.
And I will not rest until your family can afford a beautiful home and a brand new, beautiful car of your choice. Combustion, electric, any way you want it, you're going to have lots of choice. And that's the way it should be. I'm not saying electric cars are bad. They have problems. They have big problems. There is a danger to them, and they don't go far. I mean, it's a big problem.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how he's going to do that, given that none of his policies actually work to narrow the income and wealth gap or to find new ways to support people in need. I mean, it's sort of like he not only, it's often candidates on the left who are attacked for offering the free ponies, proverbially. But at least the people on the left have some path towards closing the income and wealth gap, or funding some of these programs. Trump is saying all my policies will be the opposite, but everybody's going to be able to get a beautiful home and a brand new car, which is really hard to believe. And again, it's just Trump desperate to figure out a way to position himself to become president again, probably out of his personal motivation, thinking that if he becomes president, it will help him in his criminal trials. I think that's what this is all about. Trump then going to his favorite topic, plumbing. I've never seen a man this obsessed with plumbing in my life. Here is Trump again talking about the problems with plumbing and heating and cooling. He should really work in HVAC, I think.
Well, it's okay if you want to go about 5 miles away from your house, but get back quick. They don't go far. They want to talk about your dishwashers and how much water you're going to have in your dishwasher, even though they don't work. And all of the other things that you have that were so precious and dear and that you never really appreciated until now because they want to take them away. Your heating and cooling in your house, they want to change it. They want to change everything.
Have you ever seen a political candidate or any person that is this fixated on plumbing and on water pressure? The other day, my plumber said to me, David, I don't even care about water pressure as much as Trump does. And this is my livelihood. And then finally, over apocalyptic music, Trump whines about the problems at airports, which is particularly rich since Trump flies his private 757, usually out of small private airports.
And a nation whose once revered airports are a dirty, crowded mess. Yet you sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the planes won't leave. They just won't leave.
This is a problem Trump has really dealt with personally, as you can tell.
And they have no idea when they will. They have no idea. Where ticket prices have tripled, they don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't have qualified air traffic controllers. And they just don't know what they're doing.
So there it is, the epitome of apocalyptic America in 2023. The guy who flies private, bemoaning things about airports he doesn't even understand. So that was Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Continued concerns about Trump's cognitive state, but this is nothing. He then moved on to his next Iowa speech, at which he incited violence. Let's talk about that next. I love the sponsor. Our sponsor, Green Pan, makes the best ceramic nonstick cookware money can buy. I've been using it for years. You're probably familiar with Green Pan. They really revolutionized home cooking back in 2007 when they introduced the ceramic nonstick cookware. Now Green Pan has launched their slow cookers. You can create family-size meals with the press of a button. They're available in 8 beautiful colors. I have the white one. The other night I made a beautiful brisket. Not technically a Hanukkah brisket, not yet, but could be. I made it in my Green Pan slow cooker. The results are amazing, super easy to clean up. You can brown in the pot. I don't need to brown on the stove. I can do it all in the slow cooker. None of Green Pan's cookware has any of the harmful chemicals that other brands have. Green Pan has their own factory. They live up to their standards. They won the 2023 Good Housekeeping Sustainable Innovation Award. And all Green Pan stuff has a 60-day return policy, so you have plenty of time to make sure it is right for you. Upgrade your cookware this holiday season with Green Pan. Go to greenpan.us and use the code PACMAN to get 30% off your entire order, plus free shipping on orders over $99. The link is down below.